what's going on? I was having a conversation with a good buddy of mine. He's been married for 35 years, and he was just talking about the whole dating scene and that he's glad that he doesn't have to be out there dating because he has buddies that talk about it, and his wife tells him about the stories that her friends go through and all that good stuff. And it's funny because him and I both were talking about how hard it is for women. I have I talk to a lot of different people, especially women, about the struggles of dating, and it's like it baffles me the stuff that men do and say, and how they really don't cherish women when they meet them. And unfortunately, the dating scene is far from normal. It's pretty pathetic. And there's nothing in the Bible that really talks to us about how to date. But God does give us, tools to use to help us. And so I'm gonna go over some five signs that you're getting played, or five signs that you're dealing with a player. Because women come across all sorts of men. Players seem to be the most dominant among the ones. The major reason because he has your attention is because the players are the men that are the loudest in the room. They don't mind being the spotlight. Part of the reason he got your attention, while the shy guy who may have better qualities, you kind of don't see him because the guy, there's something about men that are very, very aggressive. The player kind of guys are very aggressive and don't mind shooting a shot, as they call it. But 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 in First John 4 verse 1 says, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets has gone out into the world." So, ladies, you have to test these men. And I remember, I love bald eagles, and I remember how the female bald eagle tests the male that she knows that she's going to mate with, and how she tests him is she puts him to work. And how she puts him to work is she'll fly high, grab a stick, fly high, she'll drop it, see if he catches it. She'll do it 4 times until she picks up the most heaviest stick to see if he will still grab it. And she basically wants to see if he's strong enough, if he has patience enough, if he's willing to go through what he's going if he's willing to go through, working for her to get with her. And so, ladies, I think you need to have that qualities of the eagle. Make men work for being with you. With all the players out there, women have to learn how to read spirits so they can spot and avoid them. It's hard to assess the men's character and intentions at first glance, but there are signs that will help you discern the risk of going through hell of heartache. So I'm gonna give you number one. He usually texts and hardly ever calls. See, men hide behind text messaging. Calling you will be too personal to them, and then text messages, they're able to juggle multiple women through text messaging. So if a man chooses to text you more than call you, most likely he has a whole nother life going on, because if he really is into you, he's going to want to hear your voice. He's going to want to talk to you. He's going to want to see how your day is going. And the only way you can really get a feel for someone's personality and who they are is by hearing their voice. Number two, he gives you too much too soon. And I said that because he puts his best foot forward to get you hooked, because he doesn't have longevity. His main focus is sex. So he's gonna wine and dine you. He's gonna say all these sweet things. He's gonna cater to some of your love language. But at the end of the day, he's rushing you into sex because that's what he wants. That's ultimately what he wants. But a man that has patience doesn't mind waiting for something as precious as a good woman. So he doesn't need to rush. He just wants to get to know you. He wants you to get to know him. He wants you to know what you're getting in him, and he wants to know what he's getting in you. But a player wants to know when can he get into you, and so you don't really want to deal with men like that. So Ephesians 4:2 comes to mind. With all humility and gentleness, with patience bearing one another in love. Ephesians 4, verse 2. This is a godly trait. A player doesn't have that kind of trait. A player doesn't have patience. He doesn't. That's just not in him to have that kind of patience. All right. So number 3, he has wandering eyes. He consistently checks out other women's with long, uncomfortable stares you catch him doing. And Jesus said, "But I say to you that anyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart." And that came out of Matthew. So this man is already undressing this woman, and you happen to glance over and you see him. These men with the wandering eyes, they're never satisfied. They always want more. So and it's a lot of temptation out there for us men because let's be real, women are wearing less and less and less, but we have to be intentional not to look that way because our flesh wants what it wants, but us being men of God, we know what we need, not what we want. Nobody, you shouldn't go on what you want. You should go on what you need, and that's being faithful to your woman. Number 4, you never met anyone who's really important to him. He holds his private life separate from you. If he's making any effort to fit you in or into his life, he's not making any effort to fit you in. That means he isn't planning on doing anything more serious with you. So this type of man, you're basically his side chick. You're basically his secret. A man that is proud of what he has wants to show it off to everyone. He wants to know that he's with you. He wants everyone to know that he's with you and you're with him. But a man that's juggling different types of women, he's going to keep his certain things private in his life. You're only going to have access to a certain amount of things in his life, and so you have to be very careful with these men, ladies. Don't let them feed you with so many excuses that they're not a phone person, or they don't get on social media that much. They're not really about social media, or they don't like going out in public, and definitely don't let them use COVID-19 as a reason to not take you out and show you around and just really be proud of who you are, who they have in their life. Don't let them use that excuse, ladies. Number 5, everything he says is vague. Men are very good at not knowing how to communicate. But this type of player is very vague in his responses because if he tells you what you want to hear, that means he's committing to what you want. So he's not going to really give you a straight up answer, and he's not going to give you any definite answers to whatever it is. Here's some examples. Well, at first I'm going to read Ephesians 5, verse 6. Let no one deceive you with empty words. And that's powerful to me. Let no one deceive you with empty words. He never gives you a clear answer when you make plans. He always says something like, we'll see, maybe, I can't answer that right now. You could never make plans with him because he can't tell you anything in advance, and he cancels the last minute. Why? Because he's juggling women. This type of guy that's so wavering like the sea, you don't want in your life. And ladies, you got to stop giving your time to these type of men. These type of men, they either you've given them some of the cookies and they feel like they got you. Because to be honest with you, if a man hasn't gotten any yet, he's going to be the man that's going to be putting in some work. But once a man has gotten what he wanted from you, then he's going to stop putting in the work. And these are the type of players that I'm talking about, because that type of man you don't need in your life, because, let's be real. There's just too much going on out there with diseases. We can't forget about there's still a such thing as AIDS. There's still such thing as STDs. And yes, I'm talking about sexually transmitted disease, but I'm also talking about soul ties like another disease. That's even worse in my mind, because sexually transmitted diseases, a lot of them you can get medicine for. Soul ties you can't. Soul ties is going to take the Heavenly Father and a lot of fasting and prayer to release you from those type of chains. It's a pretty bad type of disease to have. But ladies, this is top five. I have more for you. I'll give you more later. But listen, use discernment when it comes down to dating in 2021. Men are going to be, unfortunately, they're going to be men. But if you set the standards, then you show them how to treat you, and you set the pace for every time you guys go out. This is what the standards is. Have a good one.